Here we go. Welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It is Friday. We are looking ahead to, of course, game week 11. And we've got some big news from the in-house team here at Chasing Green Arrows. Dean, how are you, mate? And what is the big news?
The big news is I've pressed the button, mate. I wildcarded. Here we go. It's time. I'm so bored. I couldn't wait another week. I'm just so bored of like the 40-point weeks. I might get another one, but I just want to change it up. And to be honest, I know Cole Palmer will probably play, but it was also kind of a moment where I was like, I don't expect Cole Palmer to get loads of points this weekend anyway. I don't really want him right now. I don't know if I want Haaland. I don't know if I want who I want. I don't like Morgan Rogers anymore. I've gone off all of my players.
Oh, Morgan Rogers. Is he not in it? Is he not in it?
No, he's not going to be in my team, mate. 100% Morgan Rogers is not going in my team. I'm bored. My team started to look like everybody else's, and it wasn't. And that's the whole point of my season is I don't want to be like everybody else, and I want to see what I can get. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to press the button and see where it lands, see where we land this week. And I'll be honest, like my first team that I picked, I don't actually think it's any better than the team that I was on before. So I will need your guidance. I will need the chasers to help me today to decide what my team should look like. I did have a draft that I put together yesterday. And then this morning, I was looking at it again. I don't even know if I want Haaland, mate. And so I quickly drop another draft that we'll have a screenshot of. It won't be on the proper graphic, but I'll show you another draft which has no Haaland. Ooh. And that totally goes against everything I've said all season. Everything. I'm like, I'm just sticking with Haaland as captain all season. But I started to look at the top of the table to see how many people up there have Haaland. And I know it's hard to know when they got rid of Haaland or if they're getting him back. But there are people up there without Haaland, and it just opens up your squad in a different way. Haaland is probably going to be he's going to be the biggest point scorer in the game, isn't he, by the end of the season? Like, if we
should be, but
should be.
The way things are going, Salah is, massively outperforming him.
Salah's there. So I've got Salah in the team. But then 15 million for Haaland, it gives you scope to make up that elsewhere and have a good pick elsewhere. So we'll see. CH says, didn't start the season so positive. Time to bring it back. Exactly. And that's kind of what I want to get back to. I haven't enjoyed the last couple of game weeks at all. And having the wild card in my pocket just feels like a waste of time. I'm just going to go for it. So the button's been pressed. We are going for it. And in a minute, we're going to try and see where we land on it, mate.
Yeah, I like that. I always said that a very good wildcard window was game week 12. If game week 12 is a good wildcard window, then game week 11 should be considered too. Because if you're going to... Let's assume the team isn't too different between what you wildcard in 11 and 12. If that game week 12 wildcard team is going to get you more points by going week 11 to your current team, then it's always worth considering. And I say that with any week. When you bookmark in a wildcard, it's a good time to do it. You should always consider, yes, that week, but you should also consider the week before. And you consider the week before because it could be the same team that outperforms your current team. And it might not mean too many changes 7 days later. In this instance, 14. Yeah. So I like that. And look, you've done well to hold it so long. You are the top ranked of me, big man, and yourself. And you started the season with loads of differentials. And it looks like you'll probably go back to that sort of differential approach.
Yeah, I've got him, mate. Yeah, I am.
I mean, there's loads. I've not seen your team, and I don't want to see it until it comes on screen. We'll react live to it, and both versions, the Haaland and the no Haaland draft. But it's a time when there are a ton of good budget defenders. I'm guessing you've picked a few of them. I'm guessing you've gone fairly light at the back. I don't know, but there's a lot of good 4.5-ish options. I'm guessing you've gone for a couple of United players, which again is a nice differential because you just pick him for 3 weeks. Like, you might sell them after 3 weeks, but you get Ipswich, Leicester, or Leicester at home, Ipswich away, Everton at home. It's a great run. So I'm intrigued to see it. Guys in the chat, hello to so many of you on this Friday evening. We don't usually stream on Friday night, so nice to have you back. We used to do this time slot all the time, so good to see so many of you. If you're enjoying the stream or this time slot suits you, let us know. Likes and subscribes are really, really welcome. And you'll notice we're subscribers only now. So if you're wondering why you can't put your comments in the chat, and you'll know all our channel members, when we see your comments, we bring them up on screen. Like the chat is interactive, and channel members in the chat dictate the agenda. And we're often flashing up your comments on screen. Offcore is here like for a wildcard stream. Sokan again, who's one of our mods. Can't wait for Dean's team. Wildcard draft is ready. British 87, no United assets for me. So Dean, one of the perks of being a member is, yes, your comments are brought up, but another perk is the WhatsApp group. So have you told people in the WhatsApp group that you are on wildcard or not?
Yeah, so the exclusive chasers knew about this Wednesday, I think, because I recorded a video. I did a video on it. I did a video revealing that I was going to wildcard. So there is a video in the members section already, and it was just me talking through my decision. It was like a revelation. It was a bit therapy, really. The video, but yeah. Kind of lost my head this week, to be honest.
Did you mention players in that video that you liked? And are those players still in your team now? That was what I was, how many drafts are we talking and where's your mind been with it for the last 48 hours?
Yeah, I definitely have changed my draft way more than I probably should have. But that's because I'm trying to be different, but also trying to protect myself.
Yeah.
Being stupid. Like, I'm not going to have Cole Palmer this week. And I know that that's stupid, but I'm also going to leave money in the bank so that I can get him back sharpish.
Right, good.
You know, like I just don't think that the right answer is to like ignore Cole Palmer. I think for this week I can leave Palmer. I think that game probably is like 1-1 or something, if I'm honest. Like that long term, I can't go without Cole Palmer. And actually, I feel worse. I think I'd feel worse going without Cole Palmer than Haaland for some reason. Like, there's just part of me that has not lost hope of Haaland, but it's just this fixture this weekend as well. I just don't know that we're going to get much, not just out of Haaland, but out of City. I don't know what lineup we're going to have, what opportunities he'll have. He is still getting chances, right? Southampton, he could have scored 5 goals.
Massive chances.
Midweek, Haaland, he had chances. He
missed a pen.
Playing badly here.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really difficult one for me to leave out Haaland because it's completely against what I said. But for this weekend, for example, I could get in like Son, Ipswich at home, and then after the international break, I could quickly look, if I leave money in the bank, go back from Son to Palmer. Like something like that is probably what I'll do.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just ask you about Liverpool before we see your team. Have you looked at Liverpool players outside of Mo Salah? We've had Arne Slot's press conference today. We saw Luis Diaz play as a number 9. But obviously Darwin's around and he was rested. We know Jota's now not going to be back for a couple of weeks, maybe after the international break. He was quoted saying it depends on the availability of the players about Diaz playing 9. When we had Darwin and Diogo available, we always played one of those. The moment Diogo was no longer available, in my opinion, because we play so many games and Darwin didn't play all the first games, it was too much for him to just play every game. So that's why we started to come up with other ideas. To be honest, I liked especially the last idea. I think every Liverpool supporter did, with Lucho Diaz scoring 3 goals, 2 as a 9 and 1 as a winger. So that isn't always interesting to see. But Lucho is also a very good left winger. At this moment, we have 4 attackers, blah, 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 blah. We can come on, the 9's available again. At the beginning of the season, I always choose one of these 2. But like I said, Lucho did really well. Maybe it was a bit of a surprise to see how well he did. I expect him to be a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make of like Diaz, Gakpo? Are they avoids because of minutes risks, or? I
have put, like, in one of my drafts, I have had Luis Diaz like come into it a couple of times. Like, I'm definitely having Salah. Diaz is the only other attacker that I ever seem to get tempted by. Even like subconsciously, I keep finding myself like considering him. And let Dylan pick the wild card. That's actually not a bad idea. That is actually a good idea, Sigurd. I like that. I'm going to do that later on after he's got us home from school. That'll be good. So really, if I'm totally honest, I only really, outside of Luis Diaz, would look at Van Dijk. Yeah. Like, Van Dijk's probably the only premium defender that I'm seriously considering at the moment. Partly he is the leading defensive point scorer in the game at the moment, around 6 million-ish, so it's not too bad. And that Liverpool defence obviously has been tight and is going to probably continue to be so. Kenyatte, yeah, that's Kenyatte is an option as well, but there's always the chance that Kenyatte misses games, whereas not a chance that Van Dijk misses any games. So I am tempted by that. But we'll see. It's a really difficult one. And there's so many, like you said, defensive options that are like 4.5, 4.7, 4.9 that are strong, I think, at the moment. So, yeah, in a minute, we'll get my drafts up on the screen and we can talk them through. And I'm happy for people to rate or slate them. I'm absolutely happy to hear constructive criticism. Don't be too mean. But because there are some calls in. Oh, we'll throw it up right now. Okay, so this was the initial draft. Now, ignore Brennan. Brennan Johnson's not going to be in it, right?
Oh, is he not?
I don't think
that.
so.
For the Ipswich game.
The thing I've got,
he got 45 last night, which was nice. He got the assist and then came off. I was like, well, that's good because I want Spurs to keep all their main men fresh for Sunday. By the way, a few in the chat are asking about Big Man. I don't think he's coming tonight, guys. But yeah, he'll be back next week or the week after, and you can see his Twitter for his. Well, I guess so. It's 20 past, so yeah, there's no way he's coming now.
Just hasn't turned up. Do you know why it is? Because everyone else in the game is picking Bruno Fernandes now, so he doesn't get any upside to the loyalty that he showed to Bruno Fernandes. Now that everyone's going to start picking him, like that's completely wasted. Anyway, so yeah, triple United, triple Spurs. Wow, I got there. Haaland, I don't know that he'll survive, but I am tempted by it, mate. Haaland against Leicester, Ipswich, and Everton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haaland and Garnacho, I get it. And Mazraoui, like 100% get it. But is it not just buying the best United player? Is it not just worth buying the best United player and only having, I don't know, two of them?
Maybe. And I mean, the first time I did do a draft, it was just Bruno and I didn't have Garnacho and Haaland. And I did do that. And I was like, hang on. How else can I open up money? How else can I have a stronger bench? How could I do all these sorts of things?
I mean, Garnacho is 2 million cheaper than Bruno.
2 million cheaper.
That's a big difference.
That is significant.
Yeah.
And he's going to play.
Where will he play under Amorim, though? We know against Leicester he'll play as a wide forward.
Yeah, true. I mean, there is that.
Ipswich, Everton, does he play as a wing-back? But I don't think wing-back's a problem for Amorim. If they've got the ball against teams like Ipswich and Everton, they're more wide forwards than wing-backs. He won't be asked to do much defending. A bit like Chilwell under Tuchel. He was a wide forward.
Luke Shaw will make a sudden comeback for that game. You watch. But that is a good point. But Mazraoui, I think, is a really strong pick now.
Yeah,
I'm really like that is locked in. Hall, I like. So having Robinson, Lewis, Hall, Porro, Mazraoui as my defence, I quite like that. As I said before, I'm considering Van Dijk, and you'll see that in the next draft.
Pick.
But I can only get Van Dijk if Haaland comes out of the team. So, what would you rate this team as, mate? Do you like this? Do you?
I like it. I honestly, for a team that has Salah and Haaland, I look at it and I expected loads of sort of a couple of 5 million attackers, and you go, oh, you're having to start a Rodgers and Semenyo every game. But actually, you've not got that. You've got, your cheapest player starting in attack is Garnacho at 6.3, and you've got Haaland and Salah, and you've got a 5 million Suchik on the bench. I try and find some extra pennies just to get to a Rodgers or someone different at 5. But yeah, I like it. I think at the back, I don't know if I'd have. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go Rico Lewis now. Just the fear of rotation, but also the City fixtures aren't great. And in goal, I'd definitely go Sells over Flecken. But all the other, in terms of key individuals, the structure I like. I like the fact that you can go big on triple United for the 3. You can go triple Spurs for Ipswich, and then you might offload. But you've got Salah and Haaland, and I've always said Salah and Haaland drafts are way too hard for a me or big man to get to, because it ruins the rest of our team. It doesn't ruin your team if you're on Wildcard, because you can make 15 changes, not just the 2, and then go it lacks balance or you're having to make compromises elsewhere. You can shuffle around way more, obviously, on Wildcard. So the fact that you're not having to start 5 million men in midfield and you've got Haaland and Salah shows how well put this draft is together. I guess because you've not got an expensive defender.
I haven't got an expensive. I mean, but bear in mind, so in order to get to this, and this is what the Wildcard is involved, is losing Palmer and Rodgers. And actually, with this team, I can't get back to Palmer easily.
Yeah.
That
Okay. Yeah.
you
No, you
see?
can't. And you can't have Haaland, Salah and Palmer.
No.
That really does. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is one of the things that got me thinking this morning when I ended up considering whether I actually want Haaland, whether I definitely need Haaland. If we show the other team now, then you can compare it to what a potential team would look like if I ditch Haaland, and this team would have over 2 million in the bank. Sorry for the size of this one; it's just going to have been a screenshot.
No, it's fine. We can see it. Yeah. And Dean, just tell us, how many transfers do you have? Any transfers in the bank already before this wild card? Did you just have one free transfer?
Yeah, it's just the one free transfer. Yeah. So if I go no Haaland,
interesting.
then I bring in Son, I bring in Semenyo, I've got Bruno Fernandes in there, I've got Virgil in there, I've got Welbeck and Wood, and they could obviously be a variation of Cunha or Larson or Visser or Jimenez or Haaland. It's tough.
And Son's a good placeholder for obviously Cole Palmer, right?
That's the thing that, like, for this particular, Son against Ipswich is really nice. Mark says, "Oh God, the second draft is so much stronger," and I do feel like this too, especially for this game week. And I really want to have a good game week. Like, that is my main motivation right now. It's like a 1 week wild card.
You've got Bruno there on the bench too. Yeah, obviously you would bench him, but you would start Bruno instead of Welbeck, for example. Wow. Yes. Oh, that looks way better.
But is it better going forward?
Sorry, I mean, it's bigger, but also the team is better.
Yeah.
Is it better going forward? Well, Bruno for the next 3, yeah.
Not having Haaland.
You've even then got Virgil, so you've got one extra premium defender.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, this team is better. Can't lie.
So it obviously means that I haven't got Haaland. Haaland's next 3 games are Brighton away, obviously, this weekend. Then he's got Tottenham home, Liverpool away, then Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace. So I think I'm okay with that for the Tottenham and Liverpool games. I think so.
Yeah. Should we poll team 1 or 2 or team A or B?
Team A or draft A or B. Yeah, like let's draft, see what people think. I mean, I don't like it. I feel my stomach turning over just the fact that I'm not going to play Haaland this week and how weird that's going to be. But I don't think it necessarily is wrong.
Is there a way you could go get some Man City cover? I mean, I don't know.
What would you go for?
Well, I think Foden's still a good. I'm selling Foden this week, I think. I'm not happy about it. I think Foden's looking good when he plays. Like, he's getting the chances, he's getting the expected assists are really high, and in the Champions League, he's been scoring goals. Like, is Foden? He's De Bruyne's not ready to start, so Foden for 1 week. I don't know, but that would mean no Son, but you then could go Brennan Johnson. Oh, here he is.
Oh, here he is.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Oh, mate, we just told everyone you weren't coming.
I actually fell asleep.
I said you'd fallen asleep.
I haven't been well, actually. So
mate.
I'd fallen asleep. I just woke up and joined this stream. So apologies for the delay.
Mate, we wouldn't have minded you sleeping through it if you were ill. You can just, if you want, you can just stay on mute and watch the show and just rest.
No, it's perfectly fine. I would like to actually have a look at your wildcard team, and I think the show is too good enough for me to miss, actually.
Okay, fair enough. So this is, I've done 2 drafts. I am considering going without Haaland. So this that you can see on screen now is my non-Haaland team, basically. Obviously, the bench wouldn't stay like the bench, but
this is draft 2.
This is draft 2 that I've done late on. So that's my non-Haaland team. If we flip it over so Big Man can see my other team that does include Haaland. This will be interesting, actually, to flip it back and see how I even feel about getting back for this to be my team.
This is draft 1 for everyone.
This is draft 1. Haaland obviously could be interchangeable to somebody else. So this includes Haaland. This includes Salah. This team, I've lost Cole Palmer and Rodgers to do this wild card. And this first draft that you're looking at right now would mean I can't get back to Palmer, which is very off-putting. What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, I think it depends on how many times you actually intend on captaining Haaland in the weeks to come. And I suspect it won't be as many. Because Haaland actually needs to be the clear captaincy choice in, let's say, the next 6 to 7 weeks for him to justify his price. But if you're going with Salah, I actually see you have the armband on Solanke for this week. Then that sort of negates the reason to pick Haaland because he won't be captain more often.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I personally, I think I would go with the Salah and Palmer draft because I think they will cover you fine for captaincy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's flip it back to the other one then. Sorry, producer, this will be the last time we have to flip between. But it does feel like this team is getting more love. Everyone's saying draft 2 so much better. Draft 2 so much better.
So there is no Palmer, but there's
no Palmer, but I can
is
go
a placeholder.
From, yeah. So I've got
with money in the bank
this week. Money. I've got 2 points something in the bank, and I could get to Palmer, so that's fine for when I need to get back to him. Yeah, I think this will probably be. It won't be it. I don't know that I'll. I don't know. Welbeck will definitely be my man. Don't know. I definitely have Virgil.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are that I would begin with Palmer firstly, because Son's minutes he should start, but I mean,
he's definitely
I'm
starting
not exactly
at home
expecting. He's starting at home, but the comments from Postecoglou today weren't exactly optimistic because he sort of mentioned that he had a relapse of the injury in the game.
Why was he even playing in that game, by the way?
In the previous game,
no one expected him to start, did they? I don't know why he started.
So if you're not captaining Son, you might as well start with Palmer in the first place and save yourself a transfer. That's my first sort of reading. I think Hall is a good enabler. I like Hall. Porro, I guess, is fine for the next few.
Yeah.
Fernandez is obviously a pick I like. I think the midfield is fine. I'd just go with Palmer. I would be tempted to actually go with João Pedro over Welbeck as a placeholder. Because I know João Pedro isn't fit, but João Pedro at 5.4 million is going to be such insane value in the weeks to come that I can see a lot of us moving for him.
Really?
So I would be because you have 8 attackers, I would be actually tempted to sort of roll a João Pedro on the bench.
Yeah, because you'd be benching Welbeck anyway.
You're benching Welbeck anyway.
Starting Bruno in that draft, aren't you?
So I would save some cash over there as well by getting João Pedro. Apart from that, the team looks fine. Wood has done really well, but I'm not really sure whether this is the right time to pick him now that the Nottingham Forest have City and Arsenal in 2 of the next 4, both away fixtures as well. So I wonder if the boat has been missed.
You'd have money to go Haaland if you went João Pedro. Could go João Pedro and Haaland if you wanted to.
I mean, most people have Cunha in this place. I personally
what is that
don't,
based on? I keep thinking about this Cunha, and like anyone I speak to that actually watches Wolves more, they're like, well, you should pick Strand Larsen because he's more likely to score.
It's basically because Cunha is. I mean, in the absence of Sarabia, is going to be on penalties, and he's more of a 90-minute man, and he tends to do well for bonus. I think,
and he takes set pieces, corners. So he's got the real assist rate, hasn't he? Because he's corners, free kicks, probably penalties. Although Sarabia could have some.
I would be very tempted to actually have Jimenez over Wood personally. I mean, just because he got like subbed at the 70-minute of the weekend, I don't think that was a reason to worry because Muniz didn't really offer anything of note. So I still think Jimenez is still a good pick for the reasons we mentioned last week. And one blank shouldn't exactly put us off from going there. So I would personally have Jimenez instead of Wood. And I'd like to comment a bit on the defense as well. I think realistically, if you're wildcarding this week, I've looked at a fair few wildcard drafts. This draft is a bit interesting because most of the drafts that I've sort of drafted either have Trent or either have double Arsenal defense. Looking at Liverpool's fixtures and looking at Arsenal's fixtures in the weeks to come. So some drafts have Raya and Gabriel, others have Trent and let's say a Flecken, right?
Yeah.
So to go without Trent and to go without any Arsenal defender is not something I think I would recommend. I think I would change the defense a bit. I would probably sell Virgil if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Trent. I don't want Trent. But I could easily go, Virgil to an Arsenal defender. Like that's.
Or you could go Konate and then increase, say, Pedro Porro to an Arsenal player.
I could increase. Yeah, that's true.
If you wanted to save on Liverpool, you could go Konate.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't really want an Arsenal defender for this week, to be honest.
Could bench him though, because you've got Mazraoui and Hall you can play.
Yeah, I could bench him. I mean, I've obviously got rid of Raya and goal because
I like the Kirkes shout. I like your budget picks. Like I think Hall, Kirkes, and Mazraoui are all really good picks. I don't know if I would have had Podro, but Pedro Porro.
I think
Podrick
I think
is
Hall
gold.
is I think Hall is fine, but looking at the fixtures for Chelsea and Brighton, I think I would probably have either a Brighton defender, whether it's Dunk or Van Hecke or Caldwell instead of Kirkes. I think I would probably have one of those instead of Kirkes, and I think if you don't want Trent, then I would definitely go with the Raya and Gabriel double up, because Arsenal's fixtures, as you can see on the ticker after this week, they're really good. Like Nottingham Forest, West Ham, United, Fulham, Everton. Arsenal will keep a fair few clean sheets in that run, and I think if you're on a wild card this week, you have the opportunity to sort of jump ahead of that curve and be in a position where you can basically get those expected points.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Arsenal, they are conceding goals, and it's like you've got to actually go back quite a lot. Like, is it Tottenham game? You've got where they keep conceding goals. Like Newcastle, obviously lost. Liverpool game 2-2. Bournemouth lost 2-0. Southampton they conceded against. Leicester they conceded against. City they've conceded against. So it's like, is it a given that these clean sheets are coming? I'm actually not as convinced anymore. I'm also not sure what Arsenal are doing, like, as we move forward, like whether they might be stuck in their own heads at the moment. I think it will change a little bit now that Odegaard's coming into the picture. I think that his leadership and stuff will help the team generally. And I think that they're probably going to look more secure now because we're going to get back to a midfield of probably Rice, Partey and Odegaard. Don't know where Marino's going to fit in, to be honest, like now that Odegaard's coming back into the picture. So maybe that stabilizes things a bit, but I don't know. Like, I think Chelsea might even beat Arsenal this weekend. So like my bet would be 1-1.
I don't think we'll lose.
Yeah.
I think we definitely score. We definitely score.
Yeah, and they definitely score too, because you got Sanchez in goal. But I do take your point. I do take your point. I also people keep asking about why no Arsenal assets. Like, don't forget, I am fed up with Mikel Arteta. Like,
You're also fed up with the template. You're trying to move away from the template.
I'm trying to move away from template massively, and like that, my whole point of my season and my team at the start of this season was that I don't want to have the same team as everyone. It's pointless. Like,
yeah, you want to back against it, and you back against the template if you don't pick an Arsenal defender, because you know people like me and Big Man will all be on a double Arsenal defence in the next couple of
weeks.
It's
obviously like it's not. I'm not right by not picking Arsenal players, definitely not. But also, like, you're seeing the different ways that people are getting success in the game this season, and I'm like, is it definitely necessary? I'm just going to have a quick look at the teams right at the top to see how many of them have got double Arsenal. So the guy who's top of the whole thing at the moment, he has got double Arsenal, but he's definitely an Arsenal fan. No, second place does not have any Arsenal.
Dean, I think one Arsenal defender will be popular in the weeks to come, because even people without, let's say, Gabriel will probably jump on an Arsenal defender in the weeks to come. But I think, yeah, if you have two, then that's the differential that you'll own. And I mean, yes, Arsenal have been conceding of late, but the underlying data is still fine. And, you know, I sort of get the feeling that we're sort of going off recency bias. If I'm being totally honest, we've seen over a large sample size over 2 to 3 years that Arsenal have a really good defense. And given the fixtures, you'd back them to do well, is my point personally.
Yeah.
So for me, I would either look at investing the funds in double Arsenal defense or split the funds and get someone like a Trent, because you need that bit of X factor in the defense. And I think Gabriel and Trent are actually the two best picks, defensive picks to own in the weeks to come. And to go without either on Wildcard actually seems suboptimal.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And as I say, like that team that I've picked, like it was pretty quick. Like picking Virgil, like I just wanted it was basically to show this was going to be a premium defender. So that was like my kind of placeholder for that. If I go Trent, obviously I'm starting to eat into more money. I've got to make sure that I can.
Yeah, that changes things. As soon as you spend more than 6 million on a defender, you're like, okay, where are the compromises in midfield?
And this whole Palmer thing that I've got to sort out as well. Make sure that I either get him this week or I get him back in 2 weeks' time.
The budget forwards are the big discussion for me in this team, because your structure in midfield's there. Yeah, you might go different premium defender, but look, I mean, Arsenal defenders, we all know how good they are, but if you want one or not. But the big discussion, and no one knows this is what the template would say. This is what the data would suggest. Really, it's a bit up in the air on budget forwards. Like, sure, Chris Wood's been amazing, but his underlying data has been the same as Dominic Calvert-Lewin's. The output, in terms of expected, the output has been very different. We look at Welbeck and Wood here, but there's also Strand Larsen and Cunha and Jimenez and João Pedro. There are so many options, and you can have two of them, which is great. This is a brilliant time to be playing 3-4-3. Everyone wants three forwards, and everyone wants two budget forwards. I don't think we need to discuss Solanke. It's a perfect entry point. We'll talk captaincy in a minute, but let's talk about all those budget forwards and start with the popular choice in the community has been Cunha in the last week, but still this week getting love. He's gone up in price again, Cunha, despite only 5 points last time round or 6. Strand Larsen's popular again. You mentioned you've spoken to a few people that watch Wolves a lot. Who are they? How much do they watch Wolves? And do you trust that their opinion on Strand Larsen's the better FPL pick?
No, exactly. Yeah, that's
more
the
goals.
Difference. Yeah, that's the difference.
But then, do they understand the bonus point system?
No,
or they get...
definitely not. Yeah, that is.
I'm asking you because I'm buying a Wolves forward, and I want to know, and I don't know the answer to this. Is Cunha 1.1 million better than Strand Larsen? Because that 1.1 million is going to be useful for me at some point. Is he 20% better? I don't know if he is. I know he's better. I don't know if he's 20% better.
Yeah, it's a good question about like, is he FPL better as well? Because these people wouldn't know because they're literally judging it on pure. Yeah. Real football.
Early substitutions. Cunha stays on. Strand Larsen with Hwang back fit. Could he see reduced minutes? Maybe.
Yeah, but obviously, like 5.6 million, like that is a bargain.
It really is.
Someone that's got that run of fixtures coming up. But obviously, we do need to remember Wolves are rubbish. You know, they're bottom of the league, and this should be the turning point if they're going to have one. If it's not, they're probably going to have a new manager by the time we get to that Bournemouth game. So, like, who even knows what you'll be looking at by then? So that's a layer of like confusion that, I don't know. I've stuck Welbeck in for now just because it's been reliable. Same as Wood, really. Like Welbeck and Wood are the two that I've had in those drafts because every week I'm watching them. You see him score. And you're like, why haven't I picked him yet? And they just keep returning, like especially Wood. Like they're simple goals, but I keep thinking like, well, this is the last week. This is the last week of Chris Wood. This is the last week, and it's continuing. Yeah. So do we actually trust it or not? Like that's really what I'm trying to figure out at the moment in terms of these picks. And then obviously, as someone who's completely different, you've got Haaland, who is now part of a team which should actually have some sort of trajectory that's positive in the coming weeks. New manager, they've got a reasonably easy fixture this weekend. If they live up to expectations, he should definitely get one or two very good chances to score and should take one. And that's why I'm tempted by him. So there's so many of these forwards, and like comparing them is actually impossible. I can't do it. Like my brain can't compute it.
The chat.
Dean, adding to the conversation.
Go on.
Adding to the conversation, I mean, we were discussing budget forwards. There's so many of them, as you've mentioned. There's Jimenez, there's Cunha, there's João Pedro, who's also going to be in conversation in the weeks to come. In midfield, we have the likes of Semenyo, Rogers, who've been terrific value so far.
Evan Nilsson.
The whole point of sort of picking a Salah team over Haaland is not just for the captaincy reasons. It's also because it sort of releases a fair bit of cash down the line. But because we have, let's say, the value options at our disposal, which I've just mentioned in both midfield and attack, I don't think we have similar value options in defense. I just think the likes of Gabriel and Trent personally are clear of their counterparts in defense. I don't think the cheaper defenders come anywhere near to the elite one. So that's why I think when you're sort of building a wildcard team right now, the money sort of needs to go in defense as opposed to an attack or in midfield.
Oh, you reckon, big man? Because to date, the premiums haven't really been performing as we might have expected, but you expect that to flip. You expect Arsenal, of course, to get more clean sheets, but you expect the likes of Trent to start clocking attacking returns.
Absolutely. I mean, the expected data suggests that he should have had close to 3 or 4 attacking returns. He's just had 1. And even without the attacking returns, I mean, Liverpool have the best defensive data in the league. So anytime Liverpool keep a clean sheet, Trent is highly likely to get bonus points. I mean, currently, when you look at some of the other defenses, I mean, Spurs, their fixtures are turning. So, I mean, I'm not personally convinced on Porro after this week. Similarly, for Man City, they have a tough run of fixtures, and I don't think this is the right time to be owning a Man City defender. Where else do you go for the clean sheet points? I mean, Liverpool and Arsenal are clearly the standout defenses to go for, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, let me try and hold this up to the screen to see if it works. Can we see this or not?
Yeah.
We can. It's visible, yes.
Okay, so I've just tinkered there. So Son, I've moved back to Palmer. Then I've moved Semenyo to be Johnson.
Yeah.
And then I've moved João Pedro over Welbeck. Is that better?
Yes.
That's better, isn't it?
It's better.
And Gabriel's
It's
in as well.
definitely better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely better because it gives you more of a balance, I think, for sure.
Guys, let's know in the chat what you think. But I think that's all improvements. I like Brennan because Brennan will get 90 as well. Like Son, I think Son's probably the better option but in terms of pound for pound against Ipswich, Brennan gets 90. Son, what do we think Son gets? I'd say 60, 70.
Dean, how much do you have in the bank?
1.1.
1.1. I would actually be tempted. No, I mean, I think Raya is one. Raya is the obvious one I would go for.
Yeah, but he had Wildcard. He wanted rid of that's why.
Yeah, but
he wound me up so many times.
Hey, go sell.
If you don't want him, then I think there's another sort of left field alternative that you can go for, and that's that you can probably sell Brennan, because in this setup you're effectively benching João Pedro in this week and the week after. But next week, if João Pedro doesn't play, which is possible, I'm not sure about his minutes next week, you will need an attacker, and Brennan Johnson has City, so that's not exactly ideal. So you might get a player who has
against City, Spurs.
Yeah, but I would rather not play a Spurs attacker.
It's not ideal, is it?
If given it's not ideal for sure. So I would basically look at an attacker who has good fixtures over the next two. So maybe someone from, let's say, a Man United, maybe someone like Rashford, maybe someone like Bowen actually from West Ham.
Bowen is somebody that I've been thinking about. Yeah, Bowen. I think this
Bowen
week
is not bad.
Bowen's a good pick. Like Everton at home, must-win game. Like,
do we think West Ham win? They have to, don't they? Lopetegui needs a win, right?
Yeah. I mean,
the only caveat, though, Dean, before I forget, is that he hasn't actually been pictured in training, and Lopetegui mentioned that there are a couple of knocks. Yes, Lopetegui actually mentioned there are a couple of knocks in the team, and Bowen wasn't pictured. So some fans, and they're sort of adding 2 and 2 together and assuming that Bowen might not play. So if you're picking Bowen, I would probably. Yeah, I would probably wait for some sort of concrete news tomorrow if you're around at that time.
Calvert-Lewin's the other one, by the way, who hasn't been seen in training, and there's rumours. Well, people have suggested that he could not be around, but apparently.
Gianni, I don't think Calvert-Lewin is a concern, because that video and the pictures that have been released by Everton were actually taken on Tuesday,
earlier in the week.
It's much earlier in the week, so I'm not sure I would read anything into those.
Hang on. So if West Ham are without Todibo, Bowen, Kudus, Alvarez,
possibly
they're going to lose tomorrow.
No, Everton aren't scoring. Everton don't score goals.
Well, it might be like the McNeil show or something. I'm just wondering if I need McNeil.
I have a feeling it's going to be a low scoring sort of game. It's not the worst fixture to play.
Do I need McNeil and Calvert-Lewin?
Get Beto.
Beto, yeah.
Dean, I saw you have Fabianski. I don't think that's a terrible fixture to play Fabianski in.
Yeah, you could. Do you know what you could? You could have Raya on the bench and actually start Fabianski.
Bringing Raya back in, and then I'm picking him on the bench.
There are 3 players going up in value tonight. This might interest everyone. Watch it, and maybe 4 or 5. Bruno is going up tonight. Looks like I'm going to be making my moves early. We need to see mine in big man's teams. I've forgotten about that.
Yes.
Wood is going up. Wood is going up.
Gianni, I think we've spoken a lot about our teams early in the week. This show should primarily be focused on Dean's team.
Yeah, but he has had 47 minutes already. Matt Sells is going up tonight. So if you are going to buy Sells, Dean, don't do it tomorrow. He's 4.6. He'll be 4.7 tomorrow. Anana looks like he's going up tonight. Interesting. Man United are getting obviously a lot of love. I get it. Dean, let's just get your take on Man United, because you're probably the only one of the 3 of us that watched them last night, or even saw extended highlights.
I didn't see it yesterday.
I mean, what I read, it wasn't great, but
Yeah, I didn't see yesterday's game. I watched the Tottenham game in the early one, but I didn't see one later on because I had people over from England. Actually, I had my first English visitors, mate. So yeah, a couple of lads that I grew up with. They were out in San Diego with a band that are playing out here. So I had beers last night, English style.
Good lad.
Yes, that was fun. But
they loved your tan.
Yeah, they can't believe where we live. They were like, I can't believe this is where you live now in comparison to where we're from. I was like, yeah, I know, it's quite cool. But yeah, Ahmad, as Peter says, was apparently great.
He's had a knock, apparently.
Like big. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, things like that are annoying, aren't they? But I mean, what can we trust with Man United? I think that's kind of what you've got to figure out. Mazraoui seems like dependable, good value, great pick. Bruno's obviously going to be a good pick now. And then outside of that, I don't know, Garnacho probably is as good as I could find in terms of value, but you obviously don't want Bruno and Garnacho because that seems way overboard for a Man United team that haven't been able to score goals.
Only Southampton have more Premier League goals than Man United. It must be said, but of course, we hope they've turned a corner. All those punting Bruno in. And Bruno, as I say, is going up in price tonight. He'll be one of the most transferred in players, I guess, this game week. And he's certainly someone I think I'm buying. Let's see mine and Big Man's teams then, and then we'll go back to Dean's for the end of the show.
Do you think that Bruno's actually getting more chances now, or is it like, because he's got, he's got a penalty? Like that's...
Dean, nothing has changed. His underlying data is.
Yeah, I'm going to say, has anything changed? Yeah.
No, what's changed except for the fact that he's just gotten a penalty.
Ten Hag has gone, and they are slightly more better in attack. Now, under Van Nistelrooy, we have seen slightly better attacking numbers. We saw them score 5 against Leicester in the EFL Cup only a week ago. They've never scored 5 goals under Ten Hag. Yeah, but they never scored. Ten Hag had all sorts of teams. They never played. Never.
Do you think they'll score 5 this weekend?
No, but I think the ceiling is high for Bruno, proper high. Higher for Bruno now. He's got a different manager than Ten Hag. I mean, in the last 3 game weeks, I think Bruno is top for chances created. I think.
I mean, look, his finishing has just been bad for most of the season, right? Like he's just, for some reason, he's just like his radar's off. I don't know what's wrong. He needs some new batteries or something. But
not just his, actually the whole team, because he's been creating chances, and the team has been has been missing chances left, right, and center. In fact, when you look at the XG table, United have scored like 9 goals from an XG of nearly 16. They've underperformed the XG by an abnormal extent. So the whole team
has underperformed their XG, just XG, not XA, than Bruno Fernandes this season. He is the biggest underachiever in the Premier League. Eze is second, by the way. That's 2 of your favourite picks, big man, Bruno and Eze. You love an XG monster.
Absolutely. Anyway, Johnny, just talk us through your team. I assume Foden to Bruno is the transfer.
I don't want to do it. Do you know what? In a way, no, I'm not going to say that because that's wrong to say. I was going to say in a way, and I don't mean it. I was going to say if Palmer was injured, I could have kept Foden and just sold Palmer, and then everyone would have had to sell Palmer, and I could have gone, yeah. But no, as a Chelsea fan, of course I want Palmer fit. Foden out, and Bruno in, I think will be my move. It gives me 6.9 to spend on a forward. If Jean-Philippe Mateta was 0.4 cheaper, he's 7.3. He's so expensive this year because of what he did last season. But with Nketiah out as well, I think Palace have turned a corner. And knowing Mateta's now, he was unlucky against Wolves not to get the goal at the end. I'm looking for a budget forward, and we've discussed today there are so many. Haven't even discussed Evan Nilsson, who's another player I like. I think I'm going to go to one of the Wolves lads, just purely as a fixtures play. But I'm slightly concerned that I'm investing in such a dire attack. They are one of the weakest attacks in the league this season, if not the weakest. But I hope that changes because they've had rotten fixtures. Is it Cunha or Larson? That 1.1 million might not matter this week. That 1.1 million is going to be needed at some point. And if I land on the wrong one, I'm going to be gutted. So Cunha or Larson is such a tough one. And obviously Cunha's better, but is he 1.1 million better? Big man, what do you reckon?
It's very tricky to say. That's why I'm keeping Calvert-Lewin, because I mean, when I look at those forward slots, like you mentioned, all of them are so dire that I won't be surprised if the Wolves attacker that you select will be a problem in like 3 weeks' time. So I might as well just delay this transfer and just hope for the best in the next.
I can't keep Calvert-Lewin, man. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why. It's fine. Have you given any thought to playing Mykolenko over Lewis? Because I don't think that Lewis is going to start. So in your position, Yanni, I think I'd actually play Mikalenko over Lewis.
I'm tempted. If Lewis doesn't start, there is the fear of that 70-minute off the bench as we saw last week. So yeah, that is a 50-50. To be fair, even my goalkeepers I'm not set on, Sells or Fabianski. Like I don't mind Fabianski's clean sheet chances. That could be a 0-0 West Ham Everton, right? But I'm gonna back Sells because Forest have been so good. Trent, I think, will be in my team for a while. I have no plans to sell him. Dean, go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I just got reminded when you were talking about Calvert-Lewin and trying to place him that I'd seen a stat about Visser since he came back from injury.
Again, I love him.
His high XG is like through the roof. It's like from 13 shots, it's like way, way higher XG than like anyone should have expected it to be. Yeah. I can't find it exact. I know it's on my phone somewhere.
No, you're right, man. I was looking at Visser last week, and my plan was always Calvert-Lewin to Visser this week, and I'm not there yet. But I did notice, who did they buy in the summer for big money that's been injured? Thiago, someone. Is it Thiago? His name?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's back in on the grass. Like, it's going to be a few weeks till he's back in the team, but that worries me slightly with Visser.
Yeah, maybe, but he's one that I really haven't considered enough, probably because I don't like Brentford. Yeah, I was looking
at that fixture though. Bournemouth is a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah,
but they are at home. That's what put me off. Visser was just Bournemouth are good.
Like Brentford, obviously, the late sucker punch from Fulham on Monday night. They'll have to get back up quick from there, and they'll want to recover. And typically, Brentford are a team that recover. They don't seem to have hangovers from moments and stuff, and
they produce big chances. They're XG monsters.
Yeah. So look, Brentford were there was no dynamism at all about them, was there? On Monday against Fulham, they did nothing. It was a very, very strange performance from Brentford, and thankfully so. They just sat back and allowed us to keep going and going and going. But this weekend against Bournemouth, I think we'll see the opposite of that. And Visser, maybe I need to consider Visser more carefully. Visser more carefully. Yeah.
Big man, Visser, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, his
numbers and Evan Nilsson in the same fixture.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that Brentford's fixtures are turning in like 3 weeks' time. So it seems a bit short term, but I think for the next 3 fixtures, he's a very good player to have for sure.
Yeah,
Visser to a Brighton forward in 3 weeks, or Cunha to a Brighton forward in 3 weeks. Or
Gianni, out of interest, I'm sort of curious to hear what changed because last week you were very, very set on going DCL to Visser. So you might as well still make that move this week. Was the next year still all right for Brentford, no?
It was the Thiago back in training news today, but also seeing him come off against Fulham at 70 minutes. And I just look at it and go, are you a key cog in that team? Well, when Brentford are playing well, it's all good. But if they're not playing well, he doesn't stay on the pitch because there's Brentford have good players off the bench in attacking positions. They can reshuffle stuff, put Mbeumo 9, bring on a wide man. And I feel like Visser is always disposable. He's not one of the first 5-6 names on the team sheet. He's probably number 9 or 10 on the team sheet, even when he's playing well. That puts me off Visser.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah, I quite like that answer, actually. That's exactly why I don't want Visser. I think I've just convinced myself not to buy him.
I like it. CH says, I regret getting rid of Welbeck last week. Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players too, isn't he, where you just don't trust that there's much continuity in it. Like, it just feels like that spot will be gone or his goals will dry up and that will be the end of it for the season. But he has done well.
Okay, let's talk just Haaland. I want your thoughts on Haaland. I've got exactly 6.9 million to spend on a forward. Haaland is 6.9 million.
I still think I'd go with the Wolves forward, personally.
Would you over Haaland? Is that how much you rate Haaland? Yeah, just because we don't know if the new manager would go with Xerxes over Haaland for the first couple of games.
Yeah, this is exactly the point you mentioned in our previous discussion as well, right? That there's no guarantee.
And again, he's number 10 or 11 on the starting 11 and someone that doesn't always play 90. Dean, your take on Haaland and punt in the first few weeks? Because I'm tempted looking at the...
But you're going to have Bruno.
9.
You're going to have Bruno as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely having Bruno.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want that double up. Like, I don't know if it's...
I'm just not sold on any of these forwards, man. Not sold on any of them.
Yeah.
Why not Wood? I feel like I've missed the boat on Wood, but that's more a personal thing than a...
Yeah. I mean, look, I've already talked about... I considered Haaland, so it's not a bad pick, but...
Gianni, is the armband still likely to stay on Solanke?
Yeah, we've not spoken captain, have we? Do you know what? Let's talk captaincy and then your team, big man. Where are we all at? I'm going Solanke over Haaland, I think. What I needed from Solanke was not starting in Turkey. He didn't start. He got 30 minutes and he happened to score a goal. And then I looked at the other main players and I didn't want Brennan Johnson playing 90. I didn't want Kulu playing 90. I want this team to be fresh on Sunday. And all the main players had reduced minutes. That was enough for me to go, I'm going to captain Solanke.
Yeah.
Dean, are you on the same?
I'm actually going to listen. There's an Aston Villa podcast I sometimes listen to, and I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to go for a long walk in a minute, and I'm going to listen to what the vibe is around Villa of just how bad this mess is that they've suddenly found themselves in, where they're losing every game. And is it something that is about to? I think this will be the first time in a long time they've lost 4 in a row if they lose to Liverpool at the weekend. Like this just hasn't happened for ages, but. Salah to exploit this Villa moment is definitely something I'm having to consider more than I thought I would. And if I'm going to have Salah as a premium pick, you kind of got to exploit it when it's there. But Solanke against Ipswich just feels like such a big moment. I'm trying to look at when these games actually happen in comparison to each other. Liverpool. So is Liverpool the late game on Saturday, and Tottenham is the early Sunday game. I'm just wondering what sort of stress I'm going to have to go through personally to might come into the equation as well. Like, maybe I wait for Spurs and I'm okay with it because you've always got the hope that something comes. And maybe I just leave it on Solanke.
Oh, big man captaincy. I mean, you own Salah. Let's see your team. You own Salah. I think if you own Salah, you do captain Salah, I think. But I mean, I understand why Dean would want to go Solanke too, because that's obviously where I'm at. I think he's a great option this week.
I agree. I think if I didn't have Salah, I'd go Solanke.
Would
probably.
You?
I think so. Yeah.
Even if Haaland was in your team.
Yeah, even with Haaland.
Yeah,
I think Solanke is the second best option. The numbers are clearly there. I fancy the Spurs game to be very high scoring. So this is my team. Long story short, I will very likely be doing Lewis to Trent. I don't think that Lewis will be starting the next few fixtures. And the fixtures seem sort of tactically suited to Walker's playing style. The fixtures are tough anyway. So
what is Walker's playing style these days? I don't know what it is.
It's pretty poor, but my point is that his pace might be required against the likes of Mitoma, Son in the weeks to come, right? So he's been dreadful, though. That you're absolutely
Who did he get burnt by the other day for pace? And it was like, oh, you're meant to be the quickest man in the league. Who's it who rinsed him? I remember there was like a meme going around. Can't remember. It was a few weeks back, but he got roasted, didn't he?
Adama, I think.
Was it Adama?
Oh, it was Adama. Yeah, it was Adama. Yeah, because he's even spoken about it. He was like,
"Oh, is he?"
Yeah, he was asked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, he done me." Like, I honestly
had the ball as well.
He was like, it wasn't even like it was a straight. He's like, he was so strong. I couldn't get my arm across him. He's just too strong. He's like, I can't say anything. Like, I can beat anyone, but I just couldn't. Well,
he missed a 1-on-1 anyway. Of course he did, Adama. Yeah, he is on that underperformance list just below Eze and Bruno, by the way, in terms of conversion.
Mate, leave it. Yeah, don't go near Adama.
Big man, would you look at? Okay, so we'll do these questions and we'll start with solo wins. But big man, just to confirm your decisions this week, what did you're doing? Rico Lewis out,
Trent in,
and your second move?
That's it. I only have one free transfer. I'm probably keeping Calvert-Lewin.
So let's just see your 11 quickly. Is it Calvert-Lewin in your 11 or on the bench?
In my 11.
Oh man, I can't believe you're so pro Calvert-Lewin here.
Yeah.
Start Mikolenko over Calvert-Lewin, no?
No. I mean, I still expect West Ham to concede. I'm expecting that game to be 1-1, actually. And I'm just hoping I get lucky with Calvert-Lewin goal. Seems unlikely.
0-0, Mikolenko 3 bonus.
God,
it is what it is.
A 1-1 doesn't help anyone, does it? If that's the case. Of course, there's 330 plus watching. Thanks so much.
Like that.
Please do hit that like button. Thank you so much for saying that on our behalf, of course.
Yeah. Thoughts on Johnson captain? I don't mind it. Brennan Johnson will get 90. Like, in a way, I prefer Johnson to Son captaincy just because of minutes. Playing 2 Wolves, I just don't know what we're going to get from Wolves. Like, we all thought Wolves at home to Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace were the better team in that fixture. Southampton could come and outplay Wolves. I don't think they will, but if that was a 1-1 draw, would I be surprised? Not at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I'm not willing to 100% say I'm going to buy Cunha this week. How close is DCL to falling? I just checked. He's before I saw this question, 94%. I think he was at. So Calvert-Lewin, there is a good chance he drops tonight. He needs 4,289 managers to sell him, according to FPL stats. Big man, you use other sources for price drops. Just check what Hub is saying on Calvert-Lewin, will you? That'd be interesting for me. Will he drop tonight?
He's going to rise again. He's going to rise after his hat-trick tomorrow. Don't worry.
This is painful. Big man, I'm not making you do this because you own him. I genuinely want to know. And FPL stats, I don't know if I need to make the move tonight or not. Dean,
he's actually projected to fall. He's actually projected to fall tonight on Hub.
Oh, God. I need to make both my moves tonight because Bruno's going up in price as well. So I have to make my decision tonight before 2 a.m.
Interesting. Adam says start Smith Rowe or Rodgers. I don't really like this weekend's fixtures for either of them, to be honest. I like people be looking, thinking, Fulham have got a good chance there against Crystal Palace. We don't typically do that well against Crystal Palace.
How do you see that game going, out of interest, Dean?
0-0.
Really?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, last season, I remember going to Selhurst Park and it was 0-0. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was awful. But obviously, we got a load of attacking intent, but I just think Palace need to make sure they don't lose games like this now. And I think that that's exactly what they'll do. So it does concern me a little bit that Smith Rowe is also not getting the sort of positions that he was earlier in the season when he first joined. His game is definitely changing. He's not making those third man runs as much beyond everyone. So out the two, I probably would go with Smith Rowe but that's because Morgan Rodgers playing Liverpool away. It's not anything more than that.
Crystal Palace, I feel like they've turned a bit of a corner. Shashan already did Smith Rowe to Bruno for free. Should I do Foden to Son? Guys, I love Sonny, and I think this is a good fixture. But we all know he's not playing 90, I just don't feel like he's someone you can hit in. If you're on a wild card like Dean, I could consider Son for a 1 week punt, but much prefer Brendan Johnson. You get 90 minutes and you don't spend anywhere near the same amount of money.
His son is a don't buy, don't sell this week. I'm not personally even convinced he plays 70, let alone 90.
Could be 60, 55 like last
Especially
week.
If Spurs are up, but you'd expect them to. I mean, you expect Spurs to win fairly comfortably. And if they're winning, let's say, if they have 1 or 2 goal lead by the 60, 65 minute mark, who knows, he might even come off early.
Dean, we've spoken budget forwards. What about these three? They're all mid-priced.
They're all mid-priced, and in a way, I consider them all to be pretty much exactly the same player. I can't really split them in terms of how good they are. Probably harsh, because I think Isak is the best out of the three of them. But in terms of what we've been seeing this season, I find them hard to split. Where would I be going? I do like Isak a lot more now. I think that Newcastle have turned a corner in terms of their attacking threat. But Nicholas Jackson has also become far more interesting than I ever thought he would be for this game. Despite saying all of that, it's obviously Solanke for right now. Playing Ipswich at home, we're all captain him.
Last one from Terry. Son, Cunha or Salah for captain? I think we all agree Mo Salah there. I don't think you want to be captain a Wolves player. I think we're forgetting every team playing Wolves says in their heads, we've got a good fixture this week, lads. Wolves is the good fixture. I know Wolves, you can go, Wolves have got great fixtures themselves. Wolves is also the good fixture. Crystal Palace will tell you that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. There's over 300 of you in. If you are just tuning in, go back and watch the last hour. We've had great fun. Big man, I feel like you're going to go to bed now and you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to go, was it all a dream?
You're right. That's absolutely right. I'm so washed.
We should have got you to, I don't know, make a decision and captain someone different or make a transfer.
Yeah, we could take advantage of you today. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, hope you feel better soon, mate. And for now, we're going to have next week off. It's the international break, but as always in the international break, week 2, i.e. the week before the deadline, back to normal on CGA. We'll be streaming as always. So I think we'll be returning that Monday before. Or during the international break, I should say. So, guys, good luck in Game Week 11. Dean, good luck on your wild card. Where can we see that before the deadline? Are you likely to post it anywhere?
Yeah, I will post it. I'll stick it on Instagram and I'll stick it on X as well. Yeah, I'll do both of those. Yeah, and obviously, if you're in our members section, then they'll be helping me pick this wild card over the next few hours.
I like that. Big man, we will see your team, no doubt, but it looks like you know what you're doing and you're pretty sorted. My moves, I'm looking to make them tonight. It'll be a budget forward and Bruno in. Guys, thank you for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.